we've kind of come to the conclusion that, the powers that be want to keep the poor poor. We're trying to figure out how to offer a smaller nominal amount of investment to investors. And we can't figure out how to do it. It's just not even possible. We're trying to figure out if there's any kind of exemptions that we can take advantage of. And we take advantage of one exemption right now, which is the accredited investor exemption, as well as, friends, family, and business associate exemption.
Yep.
But that's requiring people to, because we can only have a limited number of investors per fund, and keeping the investment value at around $25,000 to $50,000 per investor. It poses a little bit of an issue for people that want to get into the real estate market for, say, like $1,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out how to be able to do it, but we can't. We've kind of come to the conclusion that, the powers that be want to keep the poor poor, because it's fucked up how you have to jump through so many hoops. There is an exemption that exists in Canada. For lack of a better term, it's the NI 45-110, which is like basically a crowdfunding exemption that allows you to accept $1.5 million a year, regardless of what you're putting the money towards, from non-accredited investors. But you have to...
Any limit on the number of people?
No, I don't believe so. Again, I haven't looked at it like too much in depth, because I was like, right when I saw the limitation of $1.5 million, I was like, fuck, this is pointless. But you also have to engage a financial portal, to accept funds to hold in trust and then distribute the funds, as well as reimburse funds if you don't hit the target raise within 90 days. So the fund or the portal automatically redistributes the funds or refunds the funds back to the potential investor within 90 days. And that shit costs, like you said, you looked into it at one point, like $50,000 a fucking year.
Yeah, I had... No, that was just the setup fee.
The setup fee. Holy fuck. So
I had 3... So this is probably about a year ago when we first started looking into how to set up some sort of investor fund for people lower than $25,000. Let's say from $1,000 to $25,000.
And let's be clear. $25,000 isn't like a requirement for accredited investors. There's no like nominal amount for accredited investors. That's the amount that we had set for North Miami based on the amount of money we need to raise.
Right.
Okay.
Is there a limit on the number of investors you can have?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, I think that's how we ended up working it out.
Yeah, so the number of investors that you're able to have, I believe, is 50. Not necessarily in a real estate fund. It's in some sort of investment fund where you are...
Like a limited partnership.
Yes, where you're selling shares of a limited partnership. Yeah.
So we ended up working backwards and realizing that based on the purchase price, that's why the new one that we were looking at, which was located just outside of Orlando, we were increasing it to $50,000 per person because just the purchase price of the property.
Yeah. Now our average investment size on North Miami, I think, was like 70 grand, around 70 grand,
between 60 and 70,
67,000 or something like that. Anyways, when you were looking at it, it was something along the lines of $50,000 setup fee, and then
so I essentially about a year ago I had calls with 3 separate companies that set up portals for investment companies. It's kind of similar to your portal when you log into your online banking, or if you have like an online stock portfolio or whatever it is. And this is a very rudimentary one too. It's not like this is some like a very advanced portal. It really just like you upload documents and you have some sort of like basic kind of like platform to interact with all of your investors that they can log into. Setup, the cheapest of the 3 of them that I looked into was $50,000 setup, which was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and so hey Dan, why don't you just create your own? Well, you can't, because it has to be approved in an accredited portal by the government of Canada. So you're fucked. So my whole point here is it's wild how it's also wild how the government thinks that they can dictate who is savvy enough to put their money where? That's another thing that I find a little fucked up because you have to have, call it $200,000 of income, $1 million net worth.
Not including your principal residence.
Yeah, but the people that don't quite have that are deemed incapable of determining how much money they could make and where they put their money in order to make it. Fucked up.